Okay, welcome back. Now, the last video we had just listed all the expenses, and the next thing we want to do is just look at how we divide up the expenses between the ladies' wear and the men's wear department. So back to the question here, and we see that in part uh, 7, is it? Expenses applicable to both departments should be divided on the basis of sales or floor space where appropriate. So, first thing to say is that from here on out, the rest of this question is just like that question where we divide up the expenses that we normally do in question 8. And the first thing we normally do, I suppose, in that question 8 question is to decide what the basis of apportionment is. And the basis of apportionment here, we only have two possible bases. It says sales or floor space. So what I'm going to do is just go through these here and identify which base we should be using for each of them, and then we can do the dividing up then afterwards. So first of all, salaries and general expenses. Well, really, that has nothing to do with the size of the, I suppose, the floor space. The more sales you're doing, the more salaries you'll be paying and general expenses you'll have. So I'm just going to put that as sales. So an S after it. Advertising, again, you would expect the more you spend on advertising, the bigger your sales would be. So we'll do that, or we'll apportion that on the basis of sales. Insurance. Insurance is, if we think of it in terms of public liability insurance, you know, the insurance that you pay in case somebody slips or falls in your premises. Well, then the larger the area you have, or the larger the floor space you have, the more insurance you should be paying. So if we put that as floor space. Light and heat, I think we all would agree that the bigger the floor space you have, the more you have to heat and light it. So we'll divide that up on the basis of floor space. Same goes for cleaning. I think we've done this before. Depreciation of buildings, well, the more of the building you're taking up, more floor space you have, the more the depreciation should be charged to your expenses. And lastly, the vans. So the vans are actually, I put that in for short, they're delivery vans, it said. So delivery vans, you'd imagine, would be used more the more sales you're doing. So we'll divide that up on the basis of sales. So that's the first thing. So the next thing to do then is to just look at the way in which we divide them up. So again, back to part 7, it says should be divided on the basis of sales or floor space where appropriate. And if we look at part 6, it says the floor space of the firm is divided as follows: 800 square meters for ladies' wear and men's wear 200 square meters. So if we just look at this on a piece of paper down here, 800 for the ladies' wear is to 200 for the men's wear. And this is just a little bit of maths here. If we divide by 200, we get 200 into 800 goes 4 times. 200 into 200 goes once. So we're going to divide all our expenses that are going to be divided up on the basis of floor space in the ratio of 4:1. So 4 parts to the ladies, 1 part to the menswear. Okay, that's for the floor space. You could put this on any bit of spare space for workings that you have. And then for the sales, again, ladies wear, men's wear. If we go back up here and look at the sales, ladies was 300,000, men was 200,000. So 300, and again, I'm just going to leave it at 300. We'd say we divided it by 1,000 first of all, just to save space here. So 300 is to 200. If I divide across by 100, I get 3:2. So again, we're going to divide up any expense that's going to be divided up on the basis of sales, and we see 1, 2, 3 of them here. We're going to divide up them in the proportion of 3:2 in terms of ladies' wear is to men's wear. Okay, so that's the first thing to say. The next thing, I think maybe I'll just get another piece of paper there to write on. So, and we'll start dividing up these expenses. And maybe the calculator as well, I think might be handy. Okay, so the first one is salaries and general expenses, 75,600. So if I take that 75,600, it's being divided up on the basis of sales. We already saw that sales was going to be 3:2. The way we do it is we add the two sides. 3 and 2 is 5. So if you like, we have 3/5 and 2/5. So we get 1/5 first by dividing by 5. Now I better be careful actually, I'll do this in the calculator just in case. Where are we? Oh yeah. 15/120. Okay, and we want 3/5 and 2/5. So to get 3/5 first, I'm going to multiply by 3, and then afterwards I'm going to multiply it by 2. Okay, so multiply by 3 gives me 45,360. So that's the amount I'm going to put in for the ladies' wear part of the salaries and general expenses. 45,360. Okay, and 2 is going to be 3240. So it's going to be 3240. And remember every time that the two of these figures then, or the two, whatever two figures you have in these columns, should always add up to the figure in the column here. So 45, 75, 360 and 240 is 600. That's perfect. Okay, so let's do all the sales ones first, I guess. The next one is the 4,000, and do it in the very same way. 4,000 divided by 5 is 800, and then multiplied by 3 is 2,400, and 800 multiplied by 2 is 1,600. So we're going to put 2,400 in here and 1,600 in here, and altogether that's 4,000. That's perfect. Our next sales one is the van depreciation down here. It's 8,000. So again, 8,000 divided by 5 is 1,600, isn't it? And then I'm going to multiply that by 3. 1,800 and 1,600 by 2 is 3,200. And again, double checking, 3,200 in this, that's 7, 8,000, that's perfect. So across here, 4,800, 3,200. Okay, now all the rest of them are divided up on the basis of floor space. So I'm just going to draw a line down here, and we'll look at the very first one, which is insurance, 7,000. So over here, 7,000 is what we're starting with. Again, if we look at the floor space ratio, it's 4:1. So again, if we take that as 4/5 and 1/5, that's all together. We're going to divide by 5 and multiply by 4, divide by 5, multiply by 1 to get the menswear. So divide by 5 here first of all, and divide by 5 is 1,400, and we're going to multiply by 4, we said, isn't it, for the ladies' wear? 5,600, and then for the menswear it's just multiplied by 1, isn't it? Okay, that's a waste of time. So again, do they add together? That's 7,000, perfect. So we'll put them in. Where are we? 5,600, 1,400. Okay, so this will be easier all the way through. We don't have to do the second multiplication. So the next one for light and heat, 10,300. 10,300. And we're going to divide by 5. I think this will be the last one before we start a new video. 10, 0. Is that right? And multiplied by 4. 6 there, 24. 8,240 and 2,060. Does that add up to the right one? 060 is 300. Oh, it does add up. Anyway, whether my maths is right or wrong, we'll find out, I guess. Maybe you should double check my figures with your calculator as you go along, just to be sure. Okay, we'll continue this on in the next video.